Okay, so I just got back from the Bushcraft OZ weekend, and little ritual you go through every time you go on a trip is, you're packing away the gear, making sure everything's clean and ready to go for your next trip. And while I was packing away this gear, I had a little bit of an idea of a video about the things I love about bushcraft. And what I want to do is use these different pieces of equipment and gear to illustrate different things and different aspects of bushcraft that I really love. There's so many things about bushcraft, there's so many aspects to it that it's hard to put all the things in one video, but these are some of the things I love. So looking over here, we have the Hennessy hammock, which is a great bit of gear, and shelter building, something that's very important to bushcraft. I mean, sometimes we'll use something like this, a lightweight big kit like a hammock, and then sometimes we'll build shelter from things we find in nature, from sticks and leaves, or use natural forms in landscape. And shelter building's a great thing. It's a great thing to spend the night in the woods in a little shelter you've made yourself, and that's a really great aspect of bushcraft that I love. And down here we've got the old Aussie icon, the old billy can, and there's a real skill to cooking on an open fire. This is probably one of the most important pieces of bushcraft you can have, is something like a billy can like this. And you really love doing things like making kangaroo stew and making jerky and making like little flatbreads and damper and cooking in an open fire. That's just a great skill to have and something I really enjoy doing. And over here we've got some cutting tools. Got a knife, an axe and a saw, and it's not so much the tools themselves that are important, because tools can always be replaced, but it's a skill. It's learning how to use these tools safely and properly and getting the best out of them and how to maintain them. That's a skill in itself, and that's something I really love. I really love going into the woods and using these skills properly and safely and making things from them. That's something I really love. Anyway, moving over here, I have a spoon. This is probably my most favourite piece of kit ever. I made this spoon myself, and what this kind of like represents is something I really like about bushcraft, which is what a lot of people do, is they'll try and make their own gear and make their own equipment. They'll make their own tarp, their own spoon, their own cup, they'll try and make their own clothes, and a lot of people do that, and that's really great, and a spoon to me is indicative of that, represents that, and I really love doing that myself. I try and make as much of my own gear as I can. And over here I got my little pouch I made myself, and in here all sorts of fire lighting gear. And fire lighting in the bush, again, that's a little bit of an art, it's a little bit of a skill. There's different ways you can do it. One way is the fire steel, another way is the striker with a bit of flint or a bit of quartz, and that's something I love experimenting and playing with. Different types of tinder, making char cloth, trying different types of rock to get a spark, using different things like fungus and punkwood and things like that to get a fire going. That's something I'm always experimenting with and playing with, and that's a great craft in itself, firecraft. And over here I've got a paracord bracelet. Okay, I didn't make this. It's got a little whistle in it. This was made by a guy, or it was given to me by a guy called Saxon Pathfinder, and what to me this represents is mateship. It's like making friends along the way, and sharing your stories and helping each other out with gear and stuff like that. And mates are important, and often you'll make a lot of mates through bushcraft, and that's a great aspect of bushcraft as well. And that's one of the great things about Bushcraft OZ, that it's putting a lot of bushcrafters together so that we're all in the one group, in the one pool. Anyway, there's some of the different aspects that I love about bushcraft. There's so many more, I could go on for hours, but there's some of them. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little video.